Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Muhammad Atif and this is the summary of today's lesson. Today we took lesson for Unit 2, English Student Book, page number 19, 20 and page number 21. The title of the today's lesson is Fiction, and this is basically an imaginary story from India. The name of the writer is Kiran Desai. She's an Indian writer and she wrote this amazing fiction story. It's really unique and a perfect example of a scene from a local Indian family. So, before we started the lesson, we discussed the learning objectives of the lesson. So, these are the learning objectives that I'm going to display here. Reading. Read and answering questions. We read the story and then we answered the question. And then speaking, discussing behavior, discussion on style in a piece of fiction. Okay, basically in fiction, as I mentioned, it is like not real story, imaginary story that contains different styles, and then critical thinking, speculating, making inferences, discussing opinions. Like during the class, we discussed about the style of the writing, about the story, about their opinion on the situation, and how well writer wrote it for them, and how much they can imagine the scene. So, and how much they can understand the situation and the scenario, the background of the situation, and also about the book, like is it a funny book or serious book. Then language focus, again style and use of direct and indirect speech. Descriptions. So after discussion on learning objectives, we discuss the vocabulary. Basically this fiction is really rich in vocabulary. We discussed a lot of new words and I displayed them all the new vocabularies with uh, the definition to the class, and I'm going to include it right now in the summary video also, so the rest of the students can also understand. So these are the vocabulary words: fiction, holabalu. Holabalu is basically uh, an Indian word, okay, and the meaning is a lot of noise made with people talking in excitement or in anger. So guava, a fruit, humorous, funny, extract, to remove or take out something. For example, lemon juice. We usually say extract of lemon. Same like that. Orange extract. Like take some part from something, from a whole thing. Instead of taking a whole thing, just take out or remove a part or a piece. Then ambition, snort, steadily, imagine, urge, and twitch, intone, peculiar, and orchard. So these are the words, vocabulary words that we discussed before the lesson because it is really important to discuss with the class for their understanding. After that, we started the lesson and with the whole class. First of all, I discussed the opening question, and opening question was like choice of the students regarding books. Like, do they like humorous books or serious books? Everyone has his own opinion, so students gave me opinions about their choices, and they discussed some of the books that they have read in the past. Then we discussed introduction. Okay, and this is basically the short summary about the book before we read the story, before we read the text. We read this summary of the video, and by that summary we got a general overview and also the context of the story, like the background of the story. And we also know that this book is about the character Mr. Chawla and his son and their mother, Amaji. And after that we discuss the question, like read the introduction and the extract. Do you think Hulabu in the Orchard, Guava Orchard by Kiran Desai is a humorous book or a serious book? And most of the students, after reading this text, they believe that this is a serious book, but in a funny way. The writing style is so interesting, so the people can understand really well. And after that, we discussed and we read the story, short text, and then we solved the exercise 3. Uh, the vocabulary slides really helped out the students to find the answers for this activity 3. Activity 3 basically is also vocabulary words. We have words and their meanings, okay, and definitions, and the students matched them, and then I displayed the answer to the class. And after that we discussed activity 4. And activity 4 was answer the questions, and this is like, why is Mr. Chawla impatient with Sampath this morning? Sampath is the name of the son of Mr. Chawla. Then where is Mr. Chawla going, and why does Sampath close his eyes? And how would you describe Mr. Chawla's attitude to Sampath? And how would you describe Amaji's attitude to Sampath? What impression do we get of Sampath? And the last one, give two examples of how the writer uses humor in this extract. So, after discussion on the questions and answers verbally, I displayed the answers to the class with the help of PowerPoint slide. So here are the answers of activity 3, and here are the answers of activity 4. So after completed the activities, we discussed generally more about the story and discussed question and answers. So after that, we completed our lesson. So that's all for today's lesson. Thank you very much for your participation. Take care and Allah Hafiz.